Kita di Iklim Fest yang pakai protokol guna ulang. Lihat yuk!
Reuse protokol ini bagian dari upaya kita untuk mengurangi sampah dari event, terutama dari event yang festival seperti yang melibatkan banyak orang. Saya berharap mudah-mudahan ini reuse protokol ini bisa direplikasi oleh semua event yang ada di Indonesia, kontribusi yang cukup baik untuk pengurangan sampah di Indonesia.
Kalau kita ngomongin protokol, berarti kan itu 100% reuse protokol gitu ya.
Wow, okay. Representing the roadmap for circular economy. Anyway,
yang menarik ya, ini adalah pertama kali protokol reuse, penggunaan kembali diterapkan pada sebuah acara festival musik. Jadi apa yang bisa dikurangi ya dikurangi, pakai berkali-kali. Dan ini adalah salah satu contoh sampah daripada festival itu bisa diminimalisir asalkan mau. Kalau ada kemauan pasti ada jalan.
So I need to walk. I was gonna ask you if you have umbrella to something. I need to walk to the supplier.
Tuh, ada tulisannya.
And then I'm heading off.
Semoga semangat paling riusnya menular ke festival-festival lain, karena dengan adanya protokol yang kita praktekkan hari ini sudah terbukti untuk melaksanakan festival atau kegiatan lain yang zero waste itu sangat mungkin buat dilakukan.
Reuse protokolnya sangat diperhatiin sama tim Diet Plastik juga, jadi ya event kali ini bisa besar.
Jadi harapannya sih ke depan akan ada semakin banyak lagi kegiatan, entah itu musik, atau itu olahraga, atau itu acara korporasi, di mana kita semua bisa kerjasama dan menyediakan berbagai macam kebutuhan seperti cups, plates, cutleries, dan sebagainya yang guna ulang. Karena ini juga akan mendidik masyarakat untuk menjadi lebih mindful lagi dalam mengkonsumsi.
And then supposedly my yoga is at 6, but it's through another app. It's ClassPass. So if I cancel it, I get charged. So I'm kind of annoyed, and I think I can make it. Let's see. Hoping I could.
You're not gonna make it. You chose the wrong location. You don't know how I'm.
What a great way to celebrate International Zero Waste Month. We have just had the Jakarta Reuse Tour. Thank you so much for all of the participants who came in from all over Asia, who came in from Vietnam and Thailand and the Philippines, and we had participants from India and the US coming in as well to talk about how reuse systems could work and could scale both locally and globally. We went to facilities operated by our reuse startups in Jakarta. We went to Alas, Alner, Kecipir. We went to a co-packing facility owned by Nestle to see how reuse is being implemented on the ground. And it provided so much inspiration to all of the participants who came and joined this tour. So my hope is that we can all collaborate, because we cannot scale up reuse if we do not collaborate.
Talking about Indonesian context, we have a very Indonesian way of consuming things that is everywhere, and also in all of the demographic can also access it, called warung. So it's a small shop, like a mom and pop shops, that is owned personally by the neighborhood people, and it's just everywhere. And so this type of stores called warung is something that we are really focusing in Alner as well, to expand in as much as warung as possible. Because why it's important, because again, we want our product to be accessible for everyone, price-wise, location-wise, and because warung is just spread out anywhere within like every quarter, we want it to be like a familiarity and also accessible for people.
I'm really inspired with what we're seeing here with the reuse tour in Indonesia. We know that reuse is happening in many places, but what I love the most about reuse here is that we're seeing the results of collaboration between civil society organizations, social enterprises and startups, the government and businesses, and we're seeing what could be possible if only we put our heads together and elevate the solutions that we are seeing on the ground and make sure that we have a full system that involves everyone and that benefits everyone. That is the beauty of the Reuse Tour here in Indonesia.
It's really exciting because the organizations and participants in the PR3 standards discussion are also the organizations that are involved in the plastics treaty discussion. So there's a very confluence of different parties and participants in both conversations. So it promises to have success for both efforts.
In general, people. So I think it is a good strategy and a good example that I want to bring this as the example to implement in Thailand, and everyone in Thailand can approach this milestone.
I also have the real-life experience and reflections to see that reuse definitely a very interesting and promising solution if we want to aim for a plastic-free future.
Let us protect our existing environment. Let's start reuse system in our country. Initially it will be hard for us, but I believe that nothing is hard if we work together on this. So let's work together for the reuse system.
So I hope that the Reuse Tour in Indonesia is a start of people coming together to work on reuse in Southeast Asia and in the whole Asian region.
Hopefully after this tour is over, we can still connect and we can still talk about how in all of these countries across Asia, reuse is a solution and it can be a bigger solution. Asia is the home of solutions. Let's prove that.
We all know the story at this point. We're absolutely drowning in plastic waste. And almost half of it is just packaging. People buy a product, unwrap it, toss the packaging, and repeat over and over again. It is a giant waste. The truth is, people want the product, not all the plastic. Luckily, there's another way: reuse. And now with 175 governments negotiating a global plastics treaty, we could supercharge the transition away from single-use packaging. People around the world have been building reuse systems for years. Some have done it forever as a cultural tradition. Others have just recently turned to reuse as a way to reduce their plastic waste. The idea is pretty simple. Instead of delivering products in disposable plastic, businesses create durable and reusable packaging that gets returned to them and used over and over. Instead of throwing away bottles, they get refilled. Instead of trashing food takeaway containers, they get washed and reused. And rather than tossing the pouch your delivery arrives in, it gets put back into service. Brilliant, right? Establishing and scaling up reuse systems could dramatically cut the single-use plastic that ends up in the environment. In fact, researchers from the University of Portsmouth recently outlined a roadmap for eliminating unnecessary plastic packaging in everything, from sporting events to e-commerce to how we shampoo. Most importantly, they showed reuse systems are possible everywhere and for most products. So, what can the governments negotiating the plastics treaty do? First, we've got to agree to a clear definition of what reuse really means. Because slapping a reusable sticker on a plastic bag and calling it a day just won't cut it. Second, we need all governments to enact policies that incentivize the shift to reuse systems. and provide the financing to help them grow. That's everything from single-use plastic bans or taxes on virgin plastic production to green procurement policies and reuse targets for specific sectors. Investing in reuse will actually save governments money over the long run because dealing with all that throwaway plastic costs tons of money that could be better spent on things like education and public health. Third, we need some standardization in packaging so that different reuse systems can work with each other and with existing transportation and washing systems. That way, a reuse system for cups and plates could work for many restaurants, coffee shops, and even event venues or sports arenas. Finally, we need to make reusing packaging or refilling a bottle easy and affordable for everyone, and ensure the growing reuse economy creates jobs and other community benefits. The good news is citizens from Jakarta, where I live, to Seattle, to Paris, are hungry for solutions to the plastics crisis. Now, it's our leaders' turn. It's time for governments to get serious about promoting and investing in reuse systems. A plastic-free future is possible, but it won't happen on its own. So let's get going.
Our planet is drowning in plastic waste. More than 300 million tons of plastic is produced worldwide every year, much of it for single-use packaging. But it's the product that people want, not all the plastic companies wrap around it. These polluters push things like chemical recycling, plastic offsets, or bioplastics as the answer. But those are just false solutions that sustain demand for single-use packaging. Thankfully, a real solution to the plastics crisis already exists: reuse.
Reuse is a vision, reuse is a solution.
Reuse is a systems change approach.
Guna ulang adalah gaya hidup untuk memaksimalkan apa yang sudah kita miliki di rumah.
Reuse is what we have known for generations.
Tái sử dụng thuận tiện và mang lại lợi ích cho tất cả mọi người.
Reuse brings people, cities, businesses, everyone together.
Saying no to single-use plastic is divesting from fossil fuels.
Reuse is our vision for a toxic-free future.
Reuse will generate more and cleaner livelihoods if it's inclusive.
Reuse is a brighter future for waste pickers. Reuso é reafirmar futuro livre de plásticos para as próximas gerações.
Reuse is efficient.
Hello everyone, good afternoon from Indonesia. Good morning to all of you who are still having your morning coffee, and good evening for you from any different time zone. Welcome to the first Asia Reuse Consortium webinar with the theme of Asia is a Home of Solutions. This webinar is organized by Asia Reuse Consortium with the support of PR3, the Global Alliance to Advance Reuse. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you here, both in a Zoom meeting and also in YouTube channel. My name is Diti Sofia from Plastic Diet Indonesia, and I'm honored to be your host as MC for today. And also this week is the beginning of a new month, the most important month that we are waiting for. Yes, it's Plastic-Free July, yay!
Recording in
I hope
progress.
this webinar will bring more plastic-free spirit to all of us and getting more fire to celebrate Plastic-Free July, especially to echoing the reuse as main solution of plastic pollution. And speaking of reuse, I want to play a little game to you. There will be a Mentimeter on your screen, and you might find the Menti code on your screen. And once you join the Menti, you can type your answer with the question. Please write down one thing that comes to your mind when you think about or you heard about reuse. So there will be a Menti mentor on your screen, and please write down any answer about one thing that comes to your mind when you think about reuse. Please type your answer in any language, in Bahasa, in English, in Tagalog, or any language that you prefer to use, or any Indonesia, use Sundanese maybe, or Manadonese. Please answer the question, and I'll give you time about 2 minutes to write down your answer. Maybe reuse is sustainable, or guna ulang it's easier. Maybe we can mix the language, or any language that you prefer to use, or any thought that you have in your mind today. Anything about reuse, please write down. Okay, is there any challenge that you wrote? Okay, the code is on your chat. Please write one word, please. There's the 3 words I saw in the chat room. Okay, there's one answer, visible. Okay. Anyone who write down on Zoom chat, please, or YouTube chat, please write down on Mentimeters. Okay. It means no waste. Okay, reuse is reuse actions. Okay, I'll give 1 more minute to write down the answer. Please write the answer about one thing that comes to your mind when you heard or you think about reuse. Okay, if you find any difficulty, just write down on your Zoom chat. It's easier maybe. Okay. 10 seconds again. I will waiting for you for the answer. One thing about reuse. Systemic change. Nice. Okay. Feel free to chat on Zoom chat or YouTube chat. Green, thank you for your answer. Reuse is multi-use. Nice. Circularity. Okay, there's a lot, I think. Okay, reuse is future. Nice answer. Okay, thank you everyone to participate this a little warm-up session to you. And before we proceed to the first session, I would like to invite my colleagues next to me, Rahel Nusantara as the Deputy Director of Plastic Diet Indonesia, one of the co-conveners of Asia Reuse Consortium, to give his remarks and all the explanation about today's sessions. And so Rahel, the screen is yours.
Thank you so much, Diti. Happy Plastic Free July, everyone. And I just want a special shout to all the Wayfarer in the participant chat room. So it's an honor to have Wayfarer, a lot of Wayfarer. So if you're not Wayfarer, please rename your name. I believe it's we have a glitch, but it's happy Plastic Free July. So we all enjoy, and it's the spirit of Plastic Free July. So we love Wayfarer. Hi, Faye. And yes, thank you everyone for joining the webinar, the first webinar of the Asia Reuse Consortium. And the consortium is just launched last January, and it's a collective action, collective platforms. So the Asia is a home of solutions. We know that refill and reuse solutions in Asia, it's a norm long before the plastic. So I think it's very common to use this Plastic Free July momentum to revive the spirit of reuse and refill. So I think I'm going to share with you about what is the Asia Reuse Consortium. So this is before I share about the consortiums, I just want to give you a heads up, an overview about what before the reuse and refill new initiative. So I think we know that most of the Asian countries have already banned certain type of single-use plastic, like plastic bags. Bangladesh lead the way. They banned single-use plastic bags since 2002. 22 years ago, right? Yeah, 22 years ago. And another countries follow the steps. And also in Indonesia, in my country, there are more than 100 cities to ban single-use plastic bags. And what's after the ban? So reuse and refill is one of the priority solutions to tackle the the single-use plastic problems. And we know that a lot of countries have already started the reuse and refill initiative. That's why we work together in this consortium to upscale, to mainstream these solutions. And it's not only from the startup and the NGO, actually. Some of the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration in some countries, especially in Southeast Asia, already issue regulations that enables refill for cosmetics products. So we have Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand who already issued the regulations since at least 2019. So you can Google the documents, and we can share also to you the link in the chat later, and you can learn how these three countries try to enable the refill and reuse system for cosmetics products. And I hope more Asian countries and maybe the world can also follow the steps that your respective FDA can also regulate to enable reuse and refill for cosmetics. And also, now, you see from the first 6 videos that you see in the beginning of our webinar, there are some types of reuse. So in the reuse universe, before I share about the reuse consortium, so in the reuse universe, so we talk about the universe here. So when we talk about the reuse universe, there are refill and return system, or in other terminology, it's also called reuse system. So reuse is the basic or the general act of reusing product or packaging for the same purpose for which it was first designed, with or without additional product supports that allows the packaging to be refilled or reused. And refill, as a part of the reuse universe, is the act of refilling a packaging that is empty or almost used up with the same or different materials or ingredients. In refill, consumers own the packagings. This is my water bottles, and it also have the water bottle. So this is the act of refilling. And the return system, or in other terms, it's also called reuse system, is a system for reusable containers or assets that provides for collection, washing, and redistribution of such containers. Systems own the packaging. So it's like water gallons, or if what else? If you bought the shampoo or body wash and you return it to the distribution center or supermarket and you get a new one, it's called the return. We will learn about this with the 2 sessions that we'll have in this webinar. So what is Asia Reuse Consortium? So this is a collection of initiatives. You can see in the screen there are a lot of logos of CSOs, local governments, and also startups who works together in reuse and refill. And we want to make and mainstreams reuse and refill as the priority solution in Asian countries. And talking about the global plastic treaty that our member states now start to negotiate on how to make the world a better place without plastic problem. So this is also our platform to influence, to advocate to our member states that reuse and refill is our priority solutions. It's our happy place to make a world without plastics. So what we do to upscale to mainstream the reuse and refill is we have several activities to develop and deploy the knowledge package and capacity building for our members, how to strengthen the reuse and refill initiatives. And we also have a reuse tour in some countries. We start earlier this year in Jakarta, and we will have next reuse tour in our key countries from our members. So this consortium consists of members from Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, India, and also Indonesia. So we plan to have working visitations or tour in reuse models in those countries. And also standards. So PR3, who supports for our webinar today, develop 7 standards for reuse. One of them is the washing standards. So if you search in the internet about the PR3 Global Alliance to Advance Reuse, you can learn how important is standard for reuse. And in some parts, it's also applied for refill systems. And yeah, I think that's the importance of the consortiums. I hope the initiative is not only happens in Asia, but also in the whole world, because it's Plastic Free July. So I think we need to emphasize and utilize this momentum this month to scale up our spirits. And I don't know, it's 2024, so I think we need to be positive. So. And to close my presentation, so I want to say thank in a few languages. So I hope I can pronounce it well. So terima kasih, thank you, maraming salamat, kapun krap, kam'en, dan jabat.
Thank you very much, Rahian. Please give a reaction applause to Rahian and all the people behind Asia Reuse Consortium. And before we proceed to the discussion, let's take a virtual photo first. Please, everyone, feel free to turn on your camera. We will take a virtual photo for those of you at home. Maybe you can prepare in 5 seconds. So we can have a group photo virtually and with the help of the committee. I'll count on 3 so we can take the first photos. Okay, everybody, get ready. On 1, 2, 3. And the second one, okay, please stand by on your camera. And 1, 2, 3. Thank you, everyone. Let's move to the session. And as Rahyang mentioned before, we will have 2 sessions for today. The first session, we will digging more information about reveal business from our amazing speaker from Vietnam, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And the second session will discuss more about the reuse business. And we will have speaker from Indonesia and India, where we can see how the reuse system in events, home care products, purchasement, online food delivery, and even street vendors. Wow, I think it's an amazing topic, by the way. And without further ado, let's begin the first session, the first plenary for today, with the topic of potential and challenges of refill business. And I would like to invite the guest star of the Zoom participant favor as Southeast Asia Network organizer from Break Free from Plastic as our moderator for the first session. So Faye, the screen is yours.
Okay, that's the problem with so many Faye Ferrers. Hello, I'm so sorry again. A lot of confusion. Salamat siang. Good afternoon, everyone. It is so wonderful to see all of you here today virtually, and I'm guessing it's better in person. There in Jakarta, we are all excited to learn more about reuse solutions. Again, to introduce myself, I am Faye Ferrer. I am the network organizer for Break Free from Plastics Asia Pacific for Southeast Asia and East Asia. I will be your moderator for the first plenary session, which with a topic potential and challenges of the refill business. As we know, all countries worldwide are currently trying to find strategic plans to overcome the problem of single-use plastic waste, which can be said to be a global issue. This is demonstrated by the ongoing negotiations as part of the formulation of the Global Plastic Treaty. Many CSOs or civil society organizations and even governments have encouraged reuse solutions as the priority solution for plastic pollution. Of course, the involvement of all parties is needed to make this happen because when we talk about behavior change, we also need to change the system, which requires multi-stakeholder and multi-sector collaborations, and the business sector certainly plays a big role in it. So in this session, we will learn more about the essential things that we need to mainstream the reuse business, and that includes the refill business, and make it the new business model or the standard that we can apply to all kinds of businesses, be it for cleaning products, body care products, and more. This will definitely make reuse not only a solution for plastic pollution, but also an opportunity for promising green jobs. So to start the session, I would like to invite our three distinguished speakers for the first plenary session. But first, let me introduce all three speakers first before we start on their presentations. First, we have Han Vu from Refillables Dong Day, Vietnam. Refillable Hoi An or Refillable Dong Day is the first refillable concept store in the heart of central Vietnam. It allows you to refill everyday household and personal care products by using your own containers. The refillables have refilled more than 49,500 containers and is diverting these containers out of landfill sites in Quang Nam. Next, we will have Marian Ledesma from Greenpeace Philippines. Greenpeace is an independent organization campaigning to ensure a peaceful world for future generations. One of the Greenpeace Philippines programs to support reuse is Kuha sa Tingi, a project that introduces small portion refill systems for everyday commodities at affordable prices in sari-sari stores, which allows consumers from all socioeconomic sectors to refill their reusable containers with the exact quantities that they need. And last, certainly but not the least, we have Sitanya Puspa Lestari from the Diverse Clean Action Indonesia. The DCA, or the Diverse Clean Action, is a youth NGO and community focusing on marine debris. DCA has been partnering in doing research with some universities, and one of DCA's projects to support reuse system is called Tokakura, a reuse and refill business model developed by DCA in the Thousand Islands, Indonesia since 2022. This program aims to help shops in Thousand Islands to reduce the use of single plastic by providing products, daily necessities products, through a reuse and refill system. So that's our three speakers. Now we want to start our plenary session with Han. So Han, before you begin this session, I have a question to pose to you. So as the first refillable concept store in the heart of central Vietnam, I believe that you have seen many things, be it challenges or opportunities to scale up the reuse ecosystem. Please share with us the success stories of Refillable Dong Day in promoting a reuse lifestyle in Vietnam, and what is the key element to making it sustainable. Han, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Faye and the organizers. We're very pleased to be here. And to answer that question, actually, I'd like to introduce Alison. She is the founder of the business. And Alison started the first shop in Hoi An. And I joined the business later with a focus on policy and education and community engagement. But to talk about how the idea start, how it all start for the first shop in central region of Vietnam. Maybe Alison, you want to share very quickly, like how it all come to you.
Sure. So I had already been living in Vietnam for a couple of years with my husband and daughter. And I'd had the great privilege of living in an area with an organic farm, with a lot of clean food, clean environment. But unfortunately, there was a lot of waste, a lot of plastic waste. A lot of the cleaning products that were available were filled with chemicals, more toxic chemicals. When I lived in Canada, I tried to live a very clean lifestyle, or as much as I could. And I wanted to do something. I really wanted to try to offer something. And having had experience as a customer of a refill shop, that's what I decided to try. I wanted to bring that to our community here in Hoi An. I was very fortunate that I had already been using some products locally made that were eco-friendly, and so that was my inroad to it, that I at least knew of some brands that I could try contacting and see if they were open to working with me in a format where I would be purchasing from them large quantities outside of their small containers, but rather like 30 liters, and then I would refill the containers of customers that would be coming. So that was really the earliest step, was trying to see if I could find businesses that would work with me, because this wasn't something that was being done in Vietnam at that time. So I was very fortunate that 2 out of the first 3 companies that I did contact to see if they would be open to working with me and doing this said yes. One of them absolutely understood what the point was and what the goal was. The other one didn't really care. They just really wanted to sell me the product, which I was fine with. I really wanted to see what I could do with these things and really make it happen here in Hoi An. In doing it, the other aspect of it, I wanted to make it affordable, and I wasn't going to do it if it couldn't be affordable. So the whole, the next main goal was targeting the middle to lower financial demographics and ensuring that everyone could afford it. So sacrificing a bit of the profit margin to ensure that we could hit all those markets. Thinking that, okay, well, if we can, I'd rather sell more to make the money, to keep the business going, than sell at a higher profit to a smaller demographic. So that's where it all began, is just seeing what we could do with these products and get them out there. So we started with 17 refillable items.
Yeah. Okay. We get there and tell you how we have gone so far for over the last 5 years. But before that, let us just catch up with some of the most recent auditing results of how much single-use plastic consumption in our local region in Vietnam. So we did the waste audit with 2 areas. One is the rural commune area, Tam Thanh commune, and in the 2 of the graphs that you see on the screen, the highest on the left photo, which is in the residential area, and the highest on the right photo, it is in the tourism business. Both are taken up by the single-use plastic items. Next, please. And the other auditing area is in Cẩm Phô, which is a very center of Hoi An city, where, you know, we were pretty shocked when we audit, and we found out that the single-use plastic items actually takes up over 80% of all the plastic waste, which is, you know, collect from 65 families and business here. So basically, just to say, the most recently, we have seen that, you know, single-use plastic consumption is like everywhere, and especially being a very well-known tourism destination,
in the central region, Hoi An and Quảng Nam province is now, really the government especially and the activists like us really serious about how to tackle the issue. Next, please. And in that context, as Alison also mentioned, with a very early vision of bringing the affordable in a eco-friendly and health-friendly way, up to now, over 5 years, we have developed our products up to, now we have over 200 refillable products. Plus, we also have the, what we call the sustainable product, which is, reusable and, encourage the eco-friendly lifestyle. Officially, we have 3 stores, 2 in Hoi An and 1 in Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam, which is a very exciting journey during the last 2 years, bringing the concept to really a big scale of the market. So we also have a lot of lesson learned and have a lot of insights of how to also target, the large market. So Alison can also mention about it later. And the most update numbers of the containers refill, not landfill. So for every time an old container, which is reused and refilled, so the shop staff gonna count it. And so far, almost 89,000 of containers been refilled by all of our customers, individuals, families, and businesses. And we also, so far we have been working, recruiting 7 full-time staff and 4 part-time staff. So it's also very potential, seeing the shop has been reaching out to the local community, bringing the training, the skills in running and operating the refill shop, and training the local staff, which is actually a very new skill and new mindset for our people. Next, please. Okay, so what we like to emphasize is refillables is not just a refill shop, because since the beginning, our target audience is the local community. That's why, as a founder, Alison also, emphasize about, the challenge and also the opportunity from the beginning is to make the shop and the products really accessible and affordable to the local community. So we also been, very active in the Waste Solution Network in Hoi An City and Quảng Nam Province, and also, with the Vietnam Zero Waste Alliance that connects central and local government agencies, social enterprise, NGOs, and community people to our shop. When you visit our shops in Hanoi or Hoi An, you not only will find, many interesting products that our staff spend a lot of time and efforts trying to source the suppliers who can actually collaborate with us in the minimization of the packaging from the production to the supplying to the consuming. But also you can also, have opportunities to chat with our staff on how to use the different products on the daily basis, and especially using the refillables ingredients and making the products that we actually use every day. But now, with the refillables, minimize the single-use package and also, tend to consume less of the bio, like the microplastic consumption. So we also provide educational programs that the families and the community people can actually come in and learn about refill through experience it, not just shopping, but also learn the different skills with it. And last year, we also been working through the Pacific Environment Organization and the Institution of Policy on Natural Resources and Environment, who actually been conducting a study throughout the country to find the most viable refill and reuse business to submit to the central government on the national plan of implementing circular economy. And our business model was being one of the key model which was studied. Okay, next please. And yeah, so this basically to mention, to illustrate how we want to move beyond just being a refill shop, that we have our wide network and collaboration with multi-stakeholders, including the policy, solution, and education partner. Especially, as one of the key things, maybe we can talk about during the question and answer, working, sourcing the producer and suppliers who can actually join in the reuse and refill system, coordinate by us. Next, please. Oh, it's already thumbs up.
Yeah, okay.
Next, please. Maybe we can just jump onto the page of opportunities and challenge as the key topic of this session, please. Yeah. So yeah, most importantly, we adapt the refill concept into the local context. We spent the last 5 years in really experiencing how we can bring the concept to the local community. Yet, the key message is like reuse and refill is not new. It's always been, applied in the life of our ancestors, our parents, before all the time of the convenience and single-use plastic. So taking that as the key message and engaging the local community has become one of our key communications and educations message. Okay, next, please. We can go to the opportunities page. So you see here in the screen, there's we've been organizing the community refill events. Yes. Okay.
Right. So definitely the opportunities that we see are, proving to the manufacturers and suppliers that people want less plastic. I think we're definitely seeing an uptick in refill shops starting to open up in Vietnam. And I know that since we've opened, we've always had people coming in and asking, when are we going to open up in their city? So there is a demand for it. And if that demand continues to grow, hopefully we can get that word to the manufacturers and they can help accommodate that. There's obviously an opportunity to connect with the consumers and help educate them on why these choices are important in making less plastic, using less plastic in their lives, choosing to refill as to purchasing a new container each time. And of course, the opportunity in supporting the local businesses in helping lessen their plastic waste as well. And then even through that transfer of knowledge, that's what they're doing, their staff can see that as an opportunity that they could probably use in their own homes as well. Do you want to go to the next slide?
Yes,
Just
next please.
Quickly get through this for you.
Mm-hmm. The next one, we're going to talk about the challenge that,
So definitely for us, challenge is connecting with communities, right? When you are a refill shop, we have been avoiding doing a lot of deliveries just because it creates a position where that makes us responsible for the containers. So wanting to figure out ways that we can reach these communities that really can be most impacted by refilling through the affordability of our products and the quality of the products. Of course, challenge comes then as well in education and communication, helping those customers break their habits. I know that people that I have spoken to that have said they always want to come to refill, but they just haven't made it yet. For a lot of them, it's that their plan is the next purchase, they're coming to refill. But then maybe they pop into their local store, they remember they need dish soap, they grab a bottle, they leave, and then they remember, oh yeah, this time I was going to go refill this time. So it's really helping break those habits and creating an opportunity where they come to us and realize why weren't they doing it all that time. And then, yeah, coming down to containers and packaging has always been a challenge since day one, is really how best to dispense to make it effective, quick. We don't want people to feel like refilling takes a lot more time than going to the regular shop. So these are definitely areas that we see challenge.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's thumbs up for us, and we very much open for the Q&A afterwards to go align with other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Han and Allison. I am sure that all of you have some questions for our speakers. Please do share that in our chat, but we have to go through all our speakers first, and then we will go directly to our Q&A. Now, for our second speaker, I would like to ask Marian. I hope that you're already there. One of the initiatives from Greenpeace Philippines is to promote reuse, like Kuha sa Tingi, which targeted sari-sari stores to sell everyday commodities at affordable prices through a refill system. This is interesting because a lot of people still think that reuse or refill is expensive, and the success of this project can refute that assumption. Please elaborate more about this project and share with us the testimonials from all the people involved in this initiative, especially the sellers of sari-sari stores. So, Marian, you have 10 minutes for your presentation.
Thank you, Faye. Thanks to the Asia Reuse Consortium for organizing this, and for Diet Plastic Indonesia for spearheading this webinar. Really great to see all of these initiatives from all over Asia. So a quick introduction to Kuha sa Tingi. As Faye mentioned, this is a project that was initiated by Greenpeace Philippines, and we worked in collaboration with the governments of Quezon City and San Juan City, and tapped RippleX to help us with the business development, since that's their area of expertise. Next slide, please. So the whole idea around Kuha sa Tingi is really to demonstrate to large corporations, companies, that what they're saying about shifting to reuse and refill being not viable is actually untrue. We wanted to prove that refilling is a viable model and that it has positive impacts for the planet and its people. So what we did was installed refilling dispensers to existing community stores, and these dispensers are providing 4 household care products to start with. And this is to reduce plastic consumption and also give communities, especially those from low-income areas, an alternative to sachets. And these alternatives should be affordable, accessible, and the model should be as simple as possible for easy adoption. So what started as 40 stores in 2 cities has led to refilling dispensers being installed in over 1,200 community stores in 4 cities now, and with another 800 set to receive dispensers as well. Greenpeace only funded the first 40 stores, and the rest was actually funded by the local governments that were engaged by Greenpeace and RippleX. So what they did was they incorporated this project, this environmental project, into their livelihood programs for a city. So finding low-income communities or sectors or stakeholders that needed livelihood support, they incorporated this option for them to choose from. And that's why it has reached so many community stores. To learn more about the project, Greenpeace published a report as a sort of guide for replication in case that cities and organizations want to have a similar model. So you can download it through the QR code that's on the screen, or you can go to act.gp/reuse-refill and download the report there. There's also some quotes and testimonials from the stores. Next slide, please. So the idea of refill systems, it's not as new thing as what Han has mentioned earlier. In terms of viability, refill systems have a lot of potential in Asia and in other regions because reuse and refill have really been a part of our culture and our tradition. And that's the reason why we call the project this name. It's because we wanted to reclaim the Filipino tingi culture, which is small volume retail, and make it so that it is sustainable again. So all of these reuse and refill systems, they were around before single-use plastic or other single-use packaging were being used, and community-based models also have an element of resourcefulness and familiarity. So it's also not hard to get people to realize that this is something that they can do or have been doing a long while. It's just, it hasn't been seen as something to do with sustainability per se, but it's just sort of practicality or resourcefulness that you would practice in your day-to-day life. So we wanted to show them that they're already doing it and they're already familiar with these things. They just have to normalize it again. And as for the benefits, of course, there's definitely potential there to have positive environmental and socio-economic impacts for communities and cities. And of course, these impacts and the measurements around it will vary from project to project, from different models that will be taken up. For Kuha sa Tingi, we were able to prevent the consumption of over 56,000 sachets in just 40 stores in 8 weeks. But with over 1,000 sites, just one refill of the set of 4 products can potentially avoid over 12 million sachets a year. And in a country like the Philippines, where we do have a big sachet economy, and as Gaia has reported, it's estimated that we use around 164 million sachets in a day. That small difference can already make a big step towards making a change and reducing sachet consumption in the country. We've also seen consumer savings. So comparing the suggested retail price that we have to what the prices of sachets are in these stores, consumers can have average savings of around 201% when they refill. Of course, this number will vary depending on your supplier. For example, if you decide to do this refilling system. But what we've learned is that direct access to manufacturers or suppliers can really help bring down the costs. And this was a huge factor for us in making sure that the model was affordable enough for all kinds of communities. Third thing that we saw was that store profits did rise. Store owners reported a 15% increase in profit for the products that were involved. And last but not least, we also observed changes in practice. So consumers accepted the bring your own container model, and some stores even stopped selling dishwashing liquid in sachets. We have a long way to go in terms of changing behaviors long term, but it's a start to really make these models the norm again. Next slide, please. So I'll be sharing some of the challenges that we face in this next slide. One thing that is definitely a challenge if you're thinking about refilling is, of course, capital investment if you are a small or micro enterprise. And of course, that's to do with any kind of investment or shift to a new business model. So what we would suggest is to scale refilling. The initial investment for equipment and bulk supplies of refilling stations can be costly for micro enterprises, and this is why it's necessary to have government support and also the private sector to help, possibly with cost sharing or finding shared infrastructure. Pricing was also important to us, as I mentioned. So to make the model affordable, we needed to find the right products and suppliers to ensure that we had this low price point for the stores. And it was a challenge to find these right suppliers that were willing to work with us and RippleX to provide that lower price. And third thing that we found during the course of the project was record keeping can be a challenge because some of them are informal stores, and different people are handling the stores. It can be family run. A sibling might do it, a child or a parent will be doing it and then they're turning it over. So record keeping can sometimes be inconsistent. So what we found is that stores need more guidance and support for improved record keeping, and also to help us monitor patterns and purchasing trends. And the last thing is that there needs to be better logistics, or at least different models for scaling. So the refilling model we used here is centralized in the capital region and can be done for other highly urbanized areas. The geography and current infrastructure of the Philippines, though they require different or adjusted logistical processes, supply chains, and models to address the needs of other areas like really remote mountain towns or small island communities that may need a different kind of support or different kind of model for refilling. And then next slide, please. I'll be sharing about the lessons learned. So for lessons learned, we found that we need to design models to respond to people's needs and based on their local context. We conceptualize different things, especially since the work started during the pandemic. But this model was what worked best. And really, you have to work with what is more feasible for the community and also allow room for innovation. Another thing that we learned is that efforts done in collaboration with cities and community leaders can really help socialize the model, and it can also help us involve other stakeholders. And I mentioned the environmental and socioeconomic benefits. The last thing we found is that adoption and investment in reuse and refill by corporations are necessary for large-scale change. If we want large systems and also the cost of supplies to go down, we need more actors of different levels and sizes to really be part of reuse and refill systems. And I guess for recommendations that we have, next slide, please. In this last slide, in terms of recommendations, we have two sets. One is enabling policies and another is complementary policies. So for enabling policies, we need overall and sector-specific targets for reuse and refill systems. We also need clear definitions and standards and guidelines. For example, for kinds of materials, health and safety protocols, and labeling, washing. And we also need policies that will activate government and private sector support. So fiscal and non-fiscal support, especially for micro and small enterprises that have limited capital to invest. And the last thing is, in terms of complementary policies, we'd like to see reduction targets and bans, because for as long as we're seeing single-use plastics on the market, it really isn't a level playing field for these alternative systems. The market is currently designed to be more favorable to single-use plastics. So we want to make sure that all of these options are easy and available for everybody. And I think that's it. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have later on.
Okay, thank you so much, Marianne. So again, our Q&A will come after our last speaker. So for Tenya from Indonesia, it is fascinating to know that there is an initiative for refill stores in small islands, as we know that small islands usually become the victims of plastic waste that comes from big cities, not to mention the challenges of a small island with limited waste management facilities. Please do share with us the journey behind the initiative of Tokakura as an effort to promote reuse lifestyle in small islands. Tenya, you have 10 minutes for your presentation. Thank you.
And I hope all of you can also check our presentation that will be shared by the host. Nice to meet you all. Again, my name is Tenia, and I'm the representative from the Diverse Clean Action Foundation. And as what mentioned before, one of our social project called Toko Cura, which in Indonesia means refill, And we try to have you on journey with us on how we actually develop this social project up until now. So we can check on the next slide that we're focusing on one of the islands area in northern part of Jakarta, where it is consisting of 11 out of 110 islands that are inhabited by 29,000 people. But the tourism rate there is quite high. So I think 100,000 of tourists are coming actually to that area, where every island perhaps only size around under or in between of 10 hectares. So as you can imagine, if the waste management issues are keep happening there, the coral rates are also going to decrease until now. And also the challenges that perhaps pretty distinct or unique compared to the other two cases that has been presented are actually about the ineffective waste transportation and then also the residual waste generation. As you can imagine that on the islands, they are really dependent on the products that they can buy from the mainland. Therefore, the residual rate are actually quite high. Even the plastic generation rate are also quite high. And these are our research back then in the 2020 that actually these residuals, 81% out of it that really manage and goes back to the mainland to be recycled. And the other are leaking to the oceans, and one of the types are single-use plastic sachets. And on the next slide, you can see Toko Chura is a social initiative. As what I mentioned earlier, we just started in 2020, and we partner with the local shops and community to make sure that we can boost a small enterprises that own supposedly in the future by the locals, and make sure that we can facilitate how they can actually gain the best affordable prices with partnership with those that may be located in the mainland area. And the next slide, please. You can see here in 2020 until last year, we try to make sure how actually this refill closed loop ecosystem can works. And we try to make sure that the supply chain, even though the challenges are quite big to really transport all of the refillable products from the mainland, can be happening. And based on that ecosystem, where we the one that try to facilitate it and then collaborate with the local partners to sell it directly to the customers. In the next slide, we successfully sold in the on-the-go method. And we offered several products, but without any big FMCG or well-known brand, which is the local brands that have detergent, soap, shampoo, and then also household cleaning products alternatives. And as you can see, back then it was quite manual. And you can see from the next slide, so people are actually bringing their own on containers to really refill store products, and then they will be weighed, and then it will be weighed again after they refill the products, and then all of the financing or the buying mechanism are actually manual. And we saw based on that sort of 2 years of experiences on the next slide, the activities that really support the increase of the sales are the door-to-door promotions that we did with the community. So we partner not only with the local stalls, but also with banks. And we also provide the trainings for them to make their own social media promotions. And then also to make sure that not only they are selling at the stores, but they are also open to delivery system. And also a convenience profit sharing with the warungs or the local stalls, or in Philippines, they say sari-sari. And with that being said, we reduced the amount of sachets up to 56,000 pieces and sold more than 1,450 kilograms of refillable products. And it was only trial in 5 islands, but with limited to refill system. And you can see from the next slide, we try to emerge into a reuse ecosystem, because now we saw that actually refill is feasible as a social works and social project, but then we try to make sure that how can it be sustainable throughout the business model, especially after we understand how the logistical supply chain works. Therefore, with the help of 3R Promar from GIZ, from the Germany program, we tried to trial also the reuse system on this mainland, especially because it's a closed loop area, even though there are a lot of ports in every islands. But actually, it's supposed to be easier for them to return back their packaging, right? Because the locations from the house and the shops are really close, and they are all there living on the island. And then we trialed it with 21 local stalls where they can actually reuse on the go and reuse at home. And we actually collaborated with private sectors, not only with aiming with the FMCG, but also we collaborated with aggregators or startups that maybe we'll hear more after this on the next panel. Such as Alner, Kecipir, and Happy Circle, which is all are actually Indonesian-based companies that providing reusable containers that they can return and take back for products, daily necessities products. And we add some more products or SKUs, such as cooking oil, soy sauces, and hot sauces, that for sure the quality and also permits are being taken care of with our partners from the startups. And as you can see on the graph on the right side, the reuse rate when we trialed it for the past year, perhaps not that best because it was only 24%, but there are a couple of opportunities and challenges that we can see as a really piloting area that can be monitored closely. And you can see on the next slide, these are the examples now how we actually try to more embed on the local stalls compared to a brand on its own to make sure that the scalability of the business models in the future can be implemented on these islands or the other area of islands in Indonesia. And next slide, you can see this is the reuse scheme for the Toko Curah in Kepulauan Seribu, where you can see the NGO support with the graph before this slide, I believe. We try to make sure that we facilitate how actually the boats can be having less costs for them to make sure that they can actually make it more efficient for the sellers. But as you can see here on the best practices examples that we also emerge our outreach not only through the local stalls, but not only also with the waste bag to make sure that they can actually reduce and recycle their waste, etc. But also with environmental activists and tour guides to make sure that it is also outreach into the homestays, restaurants, etc. But then again, there are a couple of lessons learned from them, such as in the future, the price adjustment should be more cheap compared to the current packaging of single-use sachets. And then also the attractiveness of the containers, they should be really bright, etc. And then also they actually have challenges on making their own IEC materials. Therefore, in the future, CSO also can help on that parts. So not only giving them trainings on doing social media, but also giving them accessible IEC materials. And maybe last slide after this. Yeah, so on the challenge and opportunity slide, we can see that the challenges are with the long supply chain that for sure happen in several other Asia Pacific countries as well, that might need a help on making sure how the standard procedures and incentives should look like, whether it's to the private sectors or the government locally, that help in the future to make sure that the more affordable household products can also be attainable on that area. And then also how to ban, just like what mentioned earlier from the previous speakers, that if the current single-use plastic sachets are still there, there might be a challenge for the local shops to really sell the refillable ones. And then also perhaps some understanding that needs to be fixed or developed about there is no more works or demand on efforts in empties return. So I think the IEC material development should be around that for the local context, but the opportunity for the islands locations are quite perfect to provide an opportunity in really develop a best practices cases and also models for other islands that are similar. And also, of course, the availability of options from various reuse operators, such as the aggregators, are really helpful on making sure that we can sell the well-known brands comparing to going through all of the FMCG process on making sure the quality should be as good as in the mainland area. And lastly, further iteration and testing are going to be happen in the islands with our program donors from Germany. So we are welcome for further collaborations. And yeah, I think that's all. On the last slide, you can connect us through our email and social media. And thank you. And yeah, let's work together.
Okay. Thank you to all our speakers, Han, Allison, Marian, and Tenya. If you can, please give a round of applause to all our amazing speakers. What a very insightful presentation and very inspirational. So we will now proceed to our Q&A session. This is your chance to ask all the amazing speakers your questions since the very start of the session. We have some questions already posted in the Q&A. You can still post your questions, either the Q&A box or the chat box. We will now read the first question. Hello, I'm Dwi from Plastic Detox Taksu. I want to ask every speakers, how do you do to check the type of product that you sell at refill stations? Is there any methodology to do that? Thanks. Anyone can start with the response.
Yeah, maybe just to clarify the question, is it just checking for quality, or is it for like getting suppliers, for example?
I think it's more of the quality. I mean, because for example, in shampoos, we have different type of products. So what is your criteria in getting that type of shampoo for your refill station?
I can answer for Kuha sa Tingi. What we did with Ripple X was that first we went to manufacturers that were already providing the same products. I think the same with Refillables Dongdae. We found existing manufacturers to do it. They have their FDA permits to manufacture these items, and they were providing them to, for example, big fast food chains that are nationwide here in the Philippines. So they have this experience to provide large enough amounts. And then they actually do the refilling in their site or their place of operation. So what happens is that Ripple X picks up the containers that are that are empty, and then swaps them out with filled containers. And then the containers that are empty are sent back to manufacturers. So those checks are being done at a manufacturer level. And we try to ensure that as much as possible, the containers that we leave at the stores are tamper-proof and are checked by the Ripple X staff when they do the deliveries.
How about the others? Thank you, Marian.
Yeah, when we started out, it was definitely through products that I'd already been using personally. Then it was also going around to shops and researching what was available in general, and then either buying samples, contacting the businesses for samples, but we always have tried to test out products prior to using, and also always ensuring that they are coming from reputable companies that have all of their paper lined up, so that what we are providing isn't just coming out of some little business that's going to be inconsistent. We want to make sure that everybody's consistent suppliers.
Tenya?
Yeah, so the first question's about not only quality check, right? They clarified the questions, but also how to know the people needs, because yeah, I agree, not all products that we need to sell at once. Therefore, CSO like us can actually bridge and facilitate the market study. So we really have quite a thorough study about what are actually the products that they actually use, what brand they prefers, And then also like if there's an alternative, what are their actually main priority to decide in changing their daily products that they usually use. For example, whether it's pricing, whether it's quality, whether it's sometimes in the ocean, for the villages nearby the oceans, it's important for soaps to have foams, where it's actually a marketing tactics and understanding from the locals that we need to adjust as well. Therefore, after the studies, we do trial and errors as well with samples of products. Then we decided on actually what are the products that can be more beneficial in terms of business-wise for those areas. I hope to answer it
Yeah,
in another.
thank you. Thank you so much for that. So for our speakers, please do look at the Q&A box. If you want to answer them directly, you can. So the next question is, how do all the three initiatives finance the refill model? Is it profitable enough? From Anonymous. So again, anyone can start. I think Marian has mentioned that early on in her presentation, but still, if you want to say anything or to add.
Yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why we started the project, that we wanted to show that there is financial viability for this business model. Because we often hear these big corporations, I mentioned that they keep saying that it's not doable. It just won't work in our communities. We need sachets. That's what they like to say. But in response to that, we wanted to make sure that this business model isn't just for the environment, that it also makes sense as a business. So there is profitability is one of the indicators that we wanted to provide. And also we want to make it as sustainable as possible. So as soon as the pilot was over, we were no longer providing free refills for the stores. They would have to come up with the capital after a number of refills that we would be providing for free, or the cities that would be providing for free. And it's proof of the viability of the business in that these stores continued to buy more products and more supplies after that initial period where the cities were subsidizing these supplies. And we have to ensure, I guess, that there is profit for these stores, because for them, this is their source of livelihood.
Thanks, Marian. Anyone else? Tenya, I think it's important to know from small island setting. I mean, like the Philippines, Indonesia has a lot of small islands. So I think it's really important for us to know how that is feasible.
Yeah, I think in terms of visibility, again, I want to reiterate the importance of CSOs and actually government to really sit together to present a recommendation in the future if we want this ecosystem actually can be beneficial. Because again, in comparison, in Indonesia, we have a waste bank system for recycling, whereas actually the waste transportation can be subsidized within certain regulations and standard procedures. Therefore, in the future, for reduction, refillable ecosystem, there should be something like that as well. Because if we only hope that the locals can actually beneficial with that, especially with the private sectors, they are not giving an incentives for selling refillable and reusable products, it will be really hard. Therefore, one of our aim is actually making that best practices and recommendation, including policy advocacy, to really see that these are the problems, these are the opportunities, and then also these are actually the recommendations for further trial and error. Hopefully, it can bridge the gap to make it really feasible in the future.
Yeah. Alison, do you like to add anything else?
Sure. Sorry, my internet connection just seems to keep going in and out here. We've financed everything ourselves at this end. But I think that I don't know what the business models are like in other countries. And in Vietnam, there are a lot of opportunities for business starting very small and not having costs through different models out of your home. You can, so you can, there's a lot of ways you can cut costs to begin. But we also brought in business refilling very early on because we knew businesses would refill quite a lot of product. So that the purchasing targets required from the suppliers. So that's where we really focused early on, was bringing in businesses to help enable the growth of the business and allow it to be sustainable, to keep going. And now, thankfully, it's been amazing.
We're having some technical
Am I still there?
challenges. You're dropping. Can you just type in your answer in the Q&A box? Or we apologize for that. So
yeah,
I think we still have time. We still have time. There's another question. Oh, this one is in Indonesian. I apologize for that. What is the entry barrier to go into refill business, from an anonymous? Again, anyone can respond. It's in the Q&A box. If you want to just answer, type your answers, you can do that. I think we're almost out of time, but I think a general question would be, is it worth doing a refill reuse store? I mean, one or two words, Marianne?
It varies from community to community, or city to city, country to country, what the barriers may be. As Rayang presented earlier, there are some countries that already have FDA guidelines, and then some countries may not have it. So it's sort of like there's no black and white guidelines on how to go about it. That may be a challenge for some. And it's also a space where you can do a lot of innovation and figure out what model really works, and then sort of work towards guidelines with the right government agencies once you've found a working model that is fit for the context. To answer Faye's question, it is definitely worth it to go into a refill or reuse business. Just because there are so many factors now, more people are starting to become conscious of plastic pollution and how it impacts their daily life, from health to the climate. And then, of course, there are global movements around the Global Plastics Treaty, and we're seeing more and more countries look into extended producers' responsibility and other kinds of single-use plastic bans. So there is that, there are opportunities there for providing alternatives to single-use plastics, and these models are the best way forward, not just in terms of environment, but all of the other impacts that you can prevent when you're moving away from single-use plastics.
Yeah. Tanya?
Yeah, I completely agree, but one or two words, it is important, important and also feasible, but with certain supports from each of the stakeholders.
Great, great. I think we've lost Alison, so we'll just let her respond in the Q&A box. So yeah, thank you so much to our 4 speakers for the amazing and insightful sharing, as well as answering all of the interesting questions from our participants. It has been a very fruitful discussion for us today, and I am so grateful to be given the chance to host this session with you all. I do hope that this event brought you positive energy, new insights, and deeper knowledge to scaling up reuse systems. Again, I'm Faye Ferrer from Breaking from Plastics Asia Pacific. Let me turn you over again to our MC for the second plenary session. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye, for moderating the first session. Thank you, Marianne, Tania, Alison, and Han, to sharing about the opportunity and the challenges of refill initiative as a part of Reuse Universe. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I see a lot of new names of participants. If you don't mind, please let me know on the chat box where you come from. It is from Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, India, or even Thailand, Malaysia, or any other country. So I can see how big the interest of this reuse topic for today. Okay, India, Malaysia, where's Indonesia, please? Philippines, Indonesia. Okay. Let's make some noise in the chat room before we answer for the second session. As we can see from the first session, business with reuse models has become a new hype, especially in Southeast Asia. We've seen many reuse businesses spread across ASEAN countries and beyond, which we'll discuss about this session on the second session. And to lead the second session, I would like to invite Emily Adityan as Regional Zero Waste Cities Officer from Gaia Asia Pacific to lead the second session about potential and challenges to build reuse and return system. To Emily, the screen is yours.
Hello. Thank you so much, namely Diet Plastic team, and happy Plastic Free July, everyone. And welcome from Asia Reuse Consortium team. This is the first webinar to celebrate Plastic Free July. And as you all heard, the first plenary, we focused on refill solutions. And in the next plenary, we'll have returnable and reuse solutions. So if you did attend Rayang's initial presentation, there is a difference between what refill solution is and what a returnable solution is. Here we will be focusing on packaging, which is not owned by the consumers. So the packaging is owned by the system, which, where you can return it. There is a logistic process where it goes for washing, cleaning, and then the refill process begins. And the customer just have to own the product inside the packaging and not really the packaging. So with that, I would like to start the second plenary on potential and challenges to build a reuse and return system. My name is Ambali Adityan. I am part of Gaia Asia Pacific. Gaia is a global network of more than 1,000 organizations across 92 countries, and we work for a just, toxic-free, and zero-waste world. And today, I'm very excited to have three panelists with us, two from Indonesia and one from India, who will be speaking about their experience on establishing a reuse model and how have they navigated it, and what are the opportunities that they found, and what are the challenges that they see in replicating those. So without any further ado, I would like to introduce my esteemed speakers. The first speaker is Bintang Iknanda from Alna, Indonesia. So Alna is a startup that provides daily essentials in returnable and reusable packaging that can be used up to 20 times to eliminate the need for single-use packaging at the source. So Alna has been collaborating with brands to enable refillable version of their conventional single-use products to activate a circular reuse systems. And recently, Alna also collaborated with a lot of restaurants in Jakarta, Indonesia, to implement returnable food packaging for online food delivery. I'm sure that's one challenge that many of us face when we order food online. We get a lot of single-use plastics which end up in our waste streams. My second speaker is Jay Vyas from National Hockey Federation, India. So National Hockey Federation is an association of street vendors across 28 states in India with 1,000 plus unions, including 11 central trade unions and over 20 international trade unions abroad. They work on the rights of street vendors for the past 20 years. And the most interesting part is that they also successfully encouraged the street vendors to implement reuse systems. And last, but certainly not least, we have Sri Junantari from Taksu Reuse. So Taksu Reuse is an Indonesian social enterprise that empowers people to reduce single-use waste during events. So this organization was established in 2018, and they provide reusable cutleries like cups, forks, spoons, plates through a leasing and a deposit refund system solutions. And they have done a lot of events throughout Indonesia to ensure that events become single-use plastic free. And yeah, so today, let's start with Bintang today. Bintang, before you start your presentation, we would really like to know, what made ALNA start a program on returnable systems. And of course, it's still not very popular. We do not have many such social enterprises working on this. So, what has been the challenges and how are you sustaining this model? So please throw some light on that. And with that, I would like to pass the mic to you, Bintang. I hope you're here.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here. So as a start, yeah, my name is Bintang. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Allner. As a background, the founding situation of Allner is a bit unique. So we are co-founded by NVU, a startup studio based in Rotterdam, but also operating in Indonesia. And the other co-founder is me. So we built this in 2020 based on issue analysis that has been done prior by NVU that we are facing, of course, single-use plastic pollution, as you may be aware, and the efforts have been focusing on cleanups as well as recycling. So we see a tremendous opportunity to start the distinctive solution where we can prevent those plastic pollution at the source. And yeah, that's how it really started. We started as a project, and now it has been 4 years. We are supported by so many institutions as well as funders. We're on track to be profitable in the next 3 years, but now we are getting more and more traction that I can also share more during my presentation. Yeah, should I start the presentation, or? I think I saw my presentation,
Yes,
but
please.
it's the last page. Sorry. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I can share. So as mentioned, the problem is that I believe you are all already familiar with this. But I will emphasize again that the most solution is now, of course, on downstream recycling alternative materials. But I think we do really need to focus on the prevention side as well to complement the whole solution. So that's why we focus on reuse models. To be more specific, is the return from home, return on the go, as well as refill on the go that I can share more. We can go next. Yeah, this is the solution, the products that we have. So we started with home care. Now we expand to personal care, even as Emily mentioned, that now we start with food and beverages as well. To be more specific, even the ready-to-eat food. Our thesis is quite simple, that we want to provide people daily needs, from soaps to rice, from detergent to spices, now even in ready-to-eat food, in returnable as well as refillable container, so that people can prevent getting some cost savings, because it is true that if you return, for example, then you'll get cheaper price because you don't need to pay the packaging cost anymore. Next. How it works. So we actually provide the return as well as refill models, but probably I'll focus on the return model. So basically, we are distinctive by two models in terms of like the return model. First, the home delivery model or the return from home. So you can purchase through our website the products, and then it will be delivered to your home, or even through WhatsApp shop. And the next time you reorder, you can also return the empty containers to our delivery staff. The second is the return on the go model. Where we work with sari-sari stores in Indonesia, it's called warung stores, as well as community-based sales channels such as waste banks. Originally, they are recycling center, community-based recycling center. Now they also playing a role into reuse models because now they become our resellers to provide the products to consumers. And then, as you know, people can return the container. The number 3 steps is that we clean, sanitize those containers ourselves. So we have a cleaning facility in South Jakarta. And then after that, we replenish the clean bottles with our FMCG partners or done by us as well as part of the service for the brand owners. Next. This is our really important model that we work with micro retailers, which is the warung stores, the waste banks, even the individual woman sales agent. Now we work with around 700 of them in Jakarta. The good thing about I think the global south is that we have a lot of this kind of micro retailer or micro stores where it can act actually as a drop points, right? So it will make the reverse logistics much more efficient because we already have this existing infrastructure that we can leverage. I think in the global north, probably this wouldn't be so similar because they're probably the government, the country will need to build the collection system from scratch. But here we actually can leverage this existing small stores, not just as a sales points, but also as the collection points. I think it's helping tremendously to scale the reuse solutions. Next. Briefly, you can check further our micro retailer partners in our website, www.honor.id/Mitra means the partners. As you can see, we really aim to make it's close each other, but not very close in a way that they're not cannibalizing each other in terms of like the business side. As mentioned, this is really significant to play role in our reverse logistics process. Next. I'm going to share about the specific case studies, I think very specific to this webinar. So this is how we work with some of our brand partners. The first is Wipro. Wipro is an Indian-based FMCG company. So they launched their shampoo and body wash products with Honor in our durable and reusable container. As you can see, it's the design is aimed to be a standardized container. As you can see that the shampoo and the body wash using the same design of container. And I think I would like to share that in Indonesia, we actually can leverage the existing regulation from the Indonesian FTA or BPOM, where it's very simple that the brand owner just needs to notify the Indonesian FTA that they want to launch new product with new container. And then that's it. They can launch the new products with our container, let's say in new size of product. And then same with the next example from Nestle, we launched the cereal and powder drink in reusable container. They also just need to notify the Indonesian FTA for minor variation for the existing products in new container. Next. I'll go quickly as I only have 2 minutes left. Yeah, this is our traction. I'm happy to speak more about this. We so far seen the 70% return rate in all channels, and we work with several FMCG partners such as mentioned, Unilever, Wipro, and a couple of local FMCG companies as well. Next one. Our impacts, we really focus on 3 things. We want to avoid single-use plastic, of course, by reusing container. We also try to avoid CO2 emissions by reusing the water we use for cleaning the container. We try to shift to EV vehicles for mid as well as last mile deliveries. And we try to measure how much the micro retailers additional income by becoming our resellers. Next. Next one. Yeah. My last slide. Very proud with my team. So this is my management team. We were working in corporates, and my background is environmental engineer. And yeah, really spending the last 5 years to let the core, sort of like the technology of owner, starting from the packaging as well as the cleaning system. And as mentioned, we work very closely with NVU, the startup studio, focusing on impact-driven ventures. Yeah, happy to discuss later in the Q&A session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Bentang. That's very insightful. So I summarize my key takeaways from your presentation. I think you really leveraged the existing infrastructure by partnering with waste banks, by onboarding warungs or the local community stores so that they can supply these products. Second and very interesting model that I found was how you are utilizing the modern convenience option for buying products. Right, the consumers can buy products by using your WhatsApp option, an online option, because everyone is moving now to online purchases. So I think you have ensured that you can provide the products in reusable containers, yet keeping the convenience intact. So that's great. And for all those participants who are listening in, please type your questions in the Q&A chat box. Our speakers will be happy to answer them in the chat box, or if they find time, they will answer it directly. So with that, I'll go to my next speaker, who is Jay Vyas. Jay is from National Hawkers Federation, and I'll just give some context. In India, we have single-use plastic bans since 2018, and it has been revised multiple times. And the plastic ban target, mostly products which are used by these vendors and small-scale retailers, including plastic bags, straws, plastic cutleries, and so on. And it most of the time impacts these small-scale vendors. And so National Hawkers Federation recently did a pilot where they got the street vendors to start, or rather revive, the reuse system on how they can provide street food in reusable containers. So I would really like to hear from Jay about their experience of establishing this pilot, and what were their learnings and challenges. So over to you, Jay.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that context, because it was very important to have that context. Are you able to hear me, right? Okay, fine. So I am very happy that we are talking about Asia is home of solutions, because most of my presentation, as Amli said, we are trying to bring back reuse because we already had really great solutions. And this is just a little bit about National Hawker Federation. They have already introduced, so I'm going to skip past this, that we just have street vendors across the entire country, and we are a union of unions. And what happened to us and why we got into the plastics issue, this is just one of our meetings. This is just I just wanted to show you that it's a really an on-ground organization. And the plastic ban came in, and they just went after street vendors and the small shopkeepers. They didn't really actually stop the FMCG at all, and it was just 2 or 3% of the total plastic consumption. Not even that, but this is the higher side of the estimate. And they went after products that really street vendors were going after, mostly for these bags, the bags that you're seeing here. That's the vegetable bags, and this is what everybody in India is used to, just getting their vegetables and fruits like this. So they went after street vendors, and what happened, it was became an a situation beyond government control itself. Every authority at local level started getting trying to extort money from street vendors, for because the ban was had a 2000 rupee fine, and then they would get $500 from the vendor and let them go. So it became an extra legal situation across the country, and that's how we got into the plastic problem. But the reality of the plastic problem is this. This is a very recent article, very recent article, literally just published today. And it says hawker businesses are actually zero carbon, almost zero carbon, but street vendors, we call them hawkers as well, are victims of climate change. And this is how generally you would see a street vendor traditionally. They have a cycle, they might even come to your house to sell you the vegetables and fruits. This is another example of how Indian street vendors are. This is plastic usage has come in, but earlier plastic usage was very low. I have not censored the plastic usage because I want to show you the real situation. What happens? Plastic has seeped in, and there is a reason why it has seeped in. Now we're trying to push it out. We're trying to tell vendors that you remove everything that you're using as plastic. But this is a very traditional way of making juice, which is you can get everywhere in a city. This is a traditional way of some traditional fruits. This is our charts, which is very famous in India. And you can see that you can just sit by side the road and there is nothing that is not reusable. This is another article that we had, that we are imagining a different urban development, a different kind of city. And this is a session we had taken for street vendors about reuse. And this is one of the postcards we made. After this, what you are seeing are different things. The bottom picture, the bottom left is a lady trying to get milk, was a milk system we had in Delhi earlier, that people could go to these milk stalls, just pay the money and get bring their jugs, fill them with milk and go back home. So that was a system that was really there. We're using ice cream here, which is a traditional way of ice cream, which is reusable. This is a refill system, and I'm going to show you the video that I shot last night. I want to show you that these things are really here. This is my video that I have for you of these products, which are completely refillable, because they have a system of inside a bottle which actually blocks up the soda. And so what happened was, when COVID came in, they really pushed in plastic and they started building a narrative around plastic. That's because a very big company called Reliance owns 50% of the plastic production here. And when we see this slide, we'll think like Indian consume 11 kg plastic per year. That's one of the Indian authorities said that. And compared to an American who have 109 kg consumption per capita. So we would imagine, oh, that's great, right? But actually they turned the narrative into market opportunity. Let's push in more plastic into India and let India become a plastic producer. And they started pushing all those plastic products onto us street vendors also. This is their projection. Why I was doing this, you can see under the number says big numbers catches audience attention. That was the suggestion from my slide template. So I kept that, and this is the number India is going to make by 2027 from plastic. That's the industry's projection. This is like $1 billion figure, 12 billion. So that is why India is not backing down on this, and we are really pushing it from a traditional point of view. And to get this number, this is what happened. Earlier, before 2019, before 2020, in COVID, you would get tea, which is a traditional way of chai here in India, like this. But now you start getting these cups, which are actually just plastic. They're called paper cups, but they're plastic. And this is a traditional lemon juice seller. And this is how we generally used to have it, like lemon juice glasses. But now we have these so-called paper cups. This is a real photo of our vendor. And these ones, which are the absolute plastic cups. So this is just a couple of examples. I'm showing you only food industry, but this is how it has happened. This is something I have clicked a month ago in the morning. So what happens is it has become a mix also. Like this tea vendor is forced to keep these cups because people are assuming that still after COVID that the cups that you're seeing, the glass cups on the bottom right, are also there. And then on the left, you can see the plastic slash paper cups also. They are also there. They have to keep both if they want to keep the glass cups also. But we are at least right now pushing them that you have to keep the glass cups. And, you know, if the customer asks for paper cup, give them an option. But generally sell in glass cups. So this is something we've been pushing back on the propaganda and the narrative of glass cups being unsafe. Then street vendors are very key for right to repair. Refill also, I showed you one example. Right to repair is these are cobblers, traditional Indian cobblers, and it really increases our footwear life. So we don't really throw away our footwear, but now that is also being pushed as a consumerist idea into people that throw away your pair of shoes. We actually save our pair of shoes, and this is very, very normal for us. This is how generally you see a cobbler traditionally under a tree because that is shade, and that's how climate change and cutting trees is actually even impacting street vendors because they can't find places when they cut down trees to sit down. And you can see that on the right, I've zoomed in. People just stand around, wait for the shoe to fix, and go away. And that's how these things work. Yes, we would like cleaner conditions, of course, but that's also a municipality issue that we are trying to work on. I'm not trying to hide that, you know, whatever the Indian situation is, I'm trying to show you the real situation. This is also an awesome thing. People like him come on a cycle, they put it on the main stand, and they have this, what you can see zoomed in, uh, uh, a wheel that sharpens your knives. So you can buy new knife from him and he will sharpen your old knives as well. And they will come to your house. They will come to your businesses. So this is like awesome, and it's zero carbon. There's nothing here. Even his wheel is powered by his pedaling. That's just crazy. In Asia, we have all of these things already. This is a cycle repair shop. We find all of these over India. They are roadside shops. They even have motor vehicle repair shops like this on roadsides, and they help in the repair economy. So we believe at NHF future is used, but what we have to do is we have to bring traditional ways and new solutions. So for new solutions, you might have heard of our effort to have a washing center for food business. This is my breakfast today. These are the kind of plates that you have actually in India, very common. And these are also very like standardized. So you can actually put them in an automated washing machine, which is our plan, which is what we are trying to get it done in Kolkata and 7 other cities. Matlab five are really promising. 2 more we are trying. And what we'll have is we'll have a reuse system where this washing system right now is that each vendor has their own washing place, but it's not very tidy. So that's what customer is also having an issue, and also you know, the municipality, the authorities have an issue. So we're going to make a common center which is paid by the municipal corporation, the government, and we'll create employment by having a common machine that actually goes to the vendor, collects plates, and people can collect plates, then go to the washing center, get it washed, and then bring it back to the vendor, and the vendor have a collection system for that. So I'll not go into detail because we have very less time, but this is the basic chart for it. You can see how the material flows. And we also have a system for takeaway, which is tiffins, which will come later. This is a traditional method. We can push this. This is what is India is very famous for pani puri, and this has lemon flavor. This is Gujarati. It's my language in my area. Lemon, garlic, and different flavors. You get waters, and these are traditional ways of actually having this dish of different flavors. This is also a great way. They have stainless steel infrastructure, which actually helps these things stand like for 20-30 years, and your cart doesn't really deteriorate. And you can also see that they have these traditional cups, which are comparatively more environmental friendly. And this is also one way. You can see glass bottles. We've convinced one person to put glass bottles instead of his plastic bottles. So he's done that. So he has glass bottles on his juice stand. This is a tiffin. This is a takeaway method. It's very common in India. And we're bringing it back. We're trying to push people to bring this, and we have a fee for it. If you take it from the vendor, and if you don't bring it back, you can keep it because you paid the fee, a deposit. But when you bring it back, you get your deposit back. So that is also a model we're adding with the washing model. And this is how generally a tiffin would with an Indian traditional food look like. We've also created campaigns. This is a narrative campaign. That's what I'm going to end with. Hak se mango reuse. That's in Hindi. It says, ask reuse, that is your right. And it has a very good connotation in Hindi. Hak se mango is very, very positive. And you can see we put different examples of our already existing. You can see banana chips in the bottom. You can see the tiffins. You can see the kullad, that is the right earthen cups. This is how we actually have been operating. We just have to bring them back, and at particular places still we have them. So we're trying to work with vendors to bring it back into the business. And we always are working with, this is another example. You can see the tiffins on the third, in the top middle image. You can see the tiffins. That's a traditional way of doing tiffins. And thank you so much. Even grains and even masalas you can get in a reuse method. So that is all I have. Thank you so much. Let us all together make plastic a history. We don't want plastic anymore. And let us together find a way to push reuse everywhere.
Thank you so much, Jay. That was very insightful. And I just want to say that, not just in India, as Jay started with this presentation, reuse was a common practice across Asia.
Everywhere.
And
Yeah.
especially among food vendors, before SUPs proliferated our markets. So what we really want to push for is that unless these bans are supported with reusable systems, the government, provides incentives financially, non-financially, we would risk burdening our vendors' livelihood as well as, our environment with these not so eco-friendly substitutes which come up every time there is a single-use plastic ban, like what Jay showed, paper cups which are lined with these plastics. So thank you so much, Jay, once again. And I really like the campaign Hak Se Mango Reuse, which is, ask for reuse, that's your right. So all the participants here from different countries, I would really encourage you to use the chat function, and, in your local language, just type whatever is the translation for, go for you, reuse, that's your right. We just want to see different answers. Maybe, Jay can collect that, and, we could, he could advocate that within his international campaigns. So, please do that, just a fun exercise. And as you do that, I will also like to invite my last speaker, Shri. So talking about Shri and her initiative with Taksu, where they, have events which no longer have single use. So they promote green events by partnering with the organizers to provide reusable supplies, because events nowadays generate a lot of waste, and Taksu is showing that event with reuse is possible. So I will not talk much, and I will give the floor to Shri to talk more. Over to you, Shri.
Thank you, Amelie, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sri from Asia Reuse, and today I'll share to you the potential and challenges to implement reuse system in event in Bali. So, Bali Government Tourism Office launched the calendar event for 2024 and record 50 each event in Bali this year. Art festival with food festival as a side event. And if we add concert and also private event, it will be more than 100 events in Bali along this year. And let me talk a biggest art festival running right now called Bali Art Festival, and we plastic detox of our support of Taksur Reuse collaborate with PPLH Bali and Merah Putih Hijau to organize waste management system in Bali Art Festival. And last night, we just the volunteer of waste management just collect around 32 kilograms waste in 6 hours in Bali Art Festival, and it's mostly single-use packaging. Last year, Taksur Reuse also have collaborated with Diet Plastic Indonesia, Alas, and also Balikin in a concert to implement a reuse system in concert, and we get result 4,700 waste can reduce by using reuse system. So what we actually do, Taksur Reuse rent reusable cutlery for your event. We have stainless steel product, coconut lip bone product, and also plastic PP. How we work on as rental? At first, we will make some agreement about the service you need. Maybe just renting our cutlery, or you need full service of renting the cutlery with washing service. We also will give you a report about number of utensils used and single use avoided. And coming soon in the future, we also will provide data on water usage and carbon footprint. With this scheme, the food and beverage stall will use our Taksu product as their packaging on the event. So they don't need to provide any single-use packaging. This is our impact so far. I can tell you that we need work really hard to get this result. And this is our last event, just on our last Saturday. And gratefully, we don't lose any utensil. Yeah, it's also a awardee event and also a concert attending by Robina Ficola. And gratefully, no cutlery loss in this event. And of course, we need strong collaboration between event organizer, visitor, and also food and beverage stall. Based on our experience, as event organizer, we have to inform to the public, especially our targeted audience, about the reuse system in our event. And also, we have to make sure master of ceremony announce the reuse system during the event. You also have to install any kind of signage at your event to encourage your visitor to support the reuse system. You also, of course, provide any segregation bins, so you can just leave your food waste on the trash bin. And also, you have to provide washing facility in the area of event. You cannot install your waste facilities far from your event because it will be problem for your visitor. And also, you have to provide a water refill station, and that's fine if you want to the visitor pay for refill of the water. So, as visitor, what we can do to support the reuse system? The first one, you have to use using any cutlery, reuse cutleries provided by Taksu or any operator reuse. And also, you have to return the cutlery before you exit the event. And if you don't want to use share cutlery, please bring your own. And as so far, we also conduct some festival, our own festival, and from that we also learn food and beverage stall the event have to ask the visitor about the cutlery. Is the visitor bring their own or they want to use our Taksu product? And the food and beverage stall do not display any single-use or takeaway packaging. If the food and beverage stall want to use any takeaway packaging, they have to use organic material or they have to use reusable packaging, and that's fine if the food and beverage stall want to charge customer for any packaging. In our festival, food and beverage have to charge the customer to pay 5,000 for any takeaway packaging. Plus, Taksu Reuse, hear your needs. And coming soon, Taksu Reuse will launch our cutlery product with meal package. And also we will launch our birthday package. So if you want to have your reusable cutlery for your birthday with colorful plates, so your children will love it, and also their friends will love it. Yes, we will have it in the future. And the last one, for more information about Taksu, please visit plasticdetox.org/Taksu or follow us in Instagram at Taksu Reuse. Don't worry about waste on your event. Taksu Reuse can help you avoiding waste. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's that's a great success. I think everyone should applaud, because the return rate was so high and consistently been higher, even the recent events. So we wish you all the best, and we really hope we have all the events in the future as great events. We have very favorable policies which ensures that such large scale events go zero waste. So I think now is the time for Q&A. I do see a lot of questions on the Q&A box. I'll go one by one. And those who have put their questions in the chat box, I would really request if you can put your questions in the Q&A box so that even if it is not answered online, our speakers can write to you later and so on. So, we have a track of all the questions that were being asked to the panelists. First question, it's a very interesting question. And I think I'll pose this question to you, Bintang, because I guess Alna has both a reuse model as well as initially also experimented with refill model. So Anjali from India is asking, is there an analysis, that you have done which shows that, which is more preferable or accepted by end users? Is it reuse or refill in terms of bringing on board more customers? So would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I think the answer would be on case by case. What I mean by that is that the refill model will target people who value new experience in shopping. And that is really good for attracting for brand awareness. But probably the downside is that not all products, if not, it's less versus products that can be provided in returnable container, because not all products are safe enough to be sold in a machine or in a refill models, for example, in outdoor environment. So it depends on the target of the market, I guess. And for Honor itself, we really see that, we want to provide both options for increasing brand awareness. So we work with the sari-sari stores, the warung stores, and then we provide some products would be available for refill. And we see that it is really creating the FOMO for the customers that, what is it? I would like to try that. But then after that, it's really up to the customers. If they value more convenient, personally, I would choose the returnable model because you don't need to refill by yourself. It's even possible to be delivered directly to your doorstep. But yeah, for now, we see that both opportunities really good to increase awareness as well as to encourage people to be more flexible as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Marian, so I think the person would also like to know, has Greenpeace done any such study? Because of course you have done a case study on refill, but do you have a comparison on if it's a returnable system model, how would the consumers react? Would it be more convenient, as Bentang said, or what has been your experience? Marian, are you there?
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we haven't had a specific study for Kuha sa Tingi. We do know that some stores say that there are still more people that want to have these single-use plastic models, and it really is about trying to build up that acceptance around reuse and refill models, and also ensuring that we're answering those needs. Like some of them have suggested that we incorporate a reuse or return system into our refilling model because they would want to have that option. So right now our model is focused on refilling. So we've received feedback that they also want to try, or some consumers want to try a return model. And that's something that Ripple X is still studying for now. But in terms of effectivity, we do see that those that have shifted to practicing the bring your own container model for refilling, they have accepted it and they are interested in continuing that model. Getting more and more people on board will probably require different kinds of models being applied in one community, and which is good because there is no one size fits all answer really to the problem. And some models may work for one household, other models will work for another. And what's great about all of these different reuse and refill models popping up all over Asia is now people have a range of different options that they can choose from. But we do think that that's the next step to really do an assessment of what's the uptake and what's the preference between these two, between reuse models versus single-use models. I think as more and more people demand it and as more regulations come up to mandate that shift away from single-use plastics, that will really drive people to also choose the alternatives because they don't have other options in terms of single-use plastics because they've been banned.
All right, thank you so much. I hope that was helpful, Anjali. Next question, I think it's for you, Jay. So the question is, why are the tea vendors using paper cups? Is there a subsidy available for them to use paper cups? I'm sure you would love this question.
Yeah. No, there's no subsidy. As a matter of fact, it's not cost effective. Actually, they have to spend per cup. There is a fixed cent. The glass cup costs 10 rupees, and you can use it like as long as it isn't broken. So it will have 500 uses. But is it stuck?
No, we can hear you.
Or can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my screen froze. Okay, no problem. But the paper cup is like per cup you have to actually pay like under 1 rupee. So it is a constant cost actually. What has happened is the narrative for the customer has changed that these paper cups are unsafe because if it's reused, I will get COVID. During that time, they started it. And so from that, the paper cups are much more safe idea has settled in, and glass cups are not as safe because what if they are not washed properly? That's the push. But they actually, even scientifically now, we are seeing that washing is way more effective than any plastic surface, because a plastic surface, coronavirus, even at that time, we knew that stayed on for 3 days. So it was an absolute false thing, but people, the company saw an opportunity and all of these kind of things. So even in juice, the glasses that I showed you, they came up. That's how they came up.
Thank you so much, Jay. That was quite helpful. The next question is to you, Sri. So what are the advantage and disadvantage of renting reusable, I guess, cutleries made of metal and plastic? Can you share, do you, in your events, do you provide metal cutleries, or is it plastic cutleries? And, when do you choose which, and what are the advantages and disadvantage? And there is a follow-up question, but I'll ask you later. You can answer this first.
Okay, thank you, Amelie. So we choose stainless steel as our cutlery because the stainless steel we think is the best option based on our research conducted by Plastic Detox team involving business and also food and beverage stall in the Sunday market Sanur. I think it's happened in 2018. In the first, we want to do this project. We choose stainless steel because it's resilient. We can use it reusable also, and also it's relatively safe if we talk about contact with food and drinks. And also a stainless steel material is easy to clean and maintenance. The maintenance is simple. The advantage is specific. We can reduce waste because any single-use packaging, because we can use stainless steel reusable. And for the disadvantage, I think the first one, we lost our cutlery. It happened in some event that invite taksu, because the visitor want to keep our cutlery. If I can tell you, our cutlery made from stainless steel is very beautiful, and some of people want to keep it for themselves. That's why before in the previously and in the future, we also have agreement with the event organizer. They have to pay for deposit, and also they have to pay for any item loss. And also, if I can tell you, the price of cutlery made by metal or stainless steel is quite expensive compared plastic cutlery. And the problem about using stainless steel cutlery is we need to dry using cloth. It has to be done because if we don't do that, our cutlery will have water stain. And because that, we have to talk to everyone who ran our product. They have to running our standard of operational, especially on washing. I think that's from me, Amelie.
Thank you so much. So there's a follow-up question, and I think I'll just reframe that question. So question from Ruth from Zero Waste Sabah, Malaysia, is that for an event of 500 people, how many sets of plates and cutleries do you prepare for, and how many volunteers do you need to pull it off? So if I have to reframe, like, do you have some set of a guide, that you have developed, on how to organize a zero waste event for different, number of participants and so on? Like, do you have something like that? Because I think this question is very valid. I'm sure many of the participants would like to organize, or must be thinking of ideas on if they would like to do a zero waste event. So do you have some kind of a guideline? And if no, maybe you can answer Ruth's direct question.
Okay, thank you, Amili. From the last event, it's in Anugerah Jurnalisme Warga last Saturday. The event organizer just ran our product, 100 plate, 100 fork and spoon, and also 100 glasses, not including our volunteer to help search and keeping our product, and also not including our hosting facility. But I come to the event because I have a good collaboration also with the event organizer, and I see they have less than 20 volunteer. The volunteer keep our product, the amount of product, and also the volunteer in the end of the event search to all of the cutlery left, and also they always encourage people who come and join to the event to return back the cutlery to the returning point. Something like that. But in the last event, in collaboration with Diet Plastic, we try to make some guidelines. If an event, how much time we will reuse the cutlery, and how much we have to provide any cutlery, so don't need to need more supply or something else. But I think I have to search the file before I share to you, but I will share it private to you. But I forget to tell you, but back on the last Saturday event, the event organizer say that the supply is they need more supply to the visitor. Just tell us this morning. Yeah, that's a good experience for us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sri. We look forward to a guidebook in sometime in the future with all your learnings and experiences. Yes. So there's a very interesting question from Hannah to you, Jay. I think you showed a picture of a stainless steel tiffin, and she's wondering how affordable it is compared to a standard dish. Because from wherever she comes, it's very expensive. So can you elaborate on that?
Oh, okay. It's around 100 rupees. Sort of deposit for the stainless steel tiffin. There are expensive ones also, but what we are also doing is to implement this, we buy the stainless steel tiffins in bulk for a group of vendors. So it's like a cooperative wish. We have a union, so it's a union, and so from that we buy that part of stainless steels. And the thing is that we have implemented this not so successfully yet. It is part of our program, but this is something we are pushing. But the stainless steel model already works in Mumbai, and it already works in Kolkata. And so there we have already had success because they're used to it, getting the tiffin in their offices. And they wouldn't mind paying 100 rupees as deposit for the tiffin. And if they don't return the tiffin, they don't get the deposit back. It's very simple like that. Just that much.
Thank you,
So
Jay.
the loss rate also, there is a report, a very, very interesting report. 1 second, there's a loss rate on how much tiffins will be lost, and that calculation is already done in one of the reports. You can check it out. I'll send you that report.
Thank you. And just for the interest of all the audience, 100 rupees is little more than $1. And yeah, I think it's not very high, so people are willing to pay that. And of course, once you return, you get back your deposit. So I think we are done with all the Q&As.
Ashwa just put a
Yes.
link of Mumbai Tiffin story, which is a very famous one. Most of us might even know it, but you can see the link in chat.
We'll also be sharing a case study done by Zero Waste Europe, which is the European counterpart of Gaia. And they did a study to, they did a study of economic benefits if street vendors switch to reusables. We'll also be sharing the link of that study with all of you. So I think that's it with the second plenary session. I'm so thankful to all the speakers, who came today and who were here with us for live class 2-3 hours and share their valuable insights. So thank you so much, Bintang, Shri, and Jay. We learned a lot. And with this, I would like to pass the mic back to Diti.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Bintang, Jay, and Bastri for sharing with us on how we can leverage the reuse systems into any part in our daily life. Thank you so much to all. And before we end today's webinar, I would like to invite Tiza Mafira, Executive Director of Plastic Diet Indonesia, to wrap up and share some insight from what we have learned today. Tiza, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Diti. Thank you so much, everyone, the excellent moderators, the excellent speakers, for sharing your valuable lessons and experiences with reuse businesses. I don't know about you, but I'm personally blown away by what we've heard today. We now maybe have a better understanding, and I think we probably need to, say this together a little bit more, that the reuse universe has a lot of solutions within it. And we're all working as part of these solutions in different ways. We heard from the outset what the reuse universe contains. There's the refills and the return systems. And the refill is where the packaging is owned by the consumer. Return systems is where the packaging is owned by the system. They are both excellent solutions. They are both low carbon, even zero carbon solutions. And we've heard how these solutions play out in Vietnam, in the Philippines, in Indonesia, and in India. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing from other countries in future events. Now, one of the things that we heard early on when we started the work on reuse and advocating for reuse, from everywhere, we heard that, we heard doubt, right? We heard that reuse is considered expensive, it's considered inconvenient, it's considered unhygienic. But what I've heard today from every of the speakers is the exact opposite. What we've heard today are the words viable, affordable, the future, right? In fact, we can bring up maybe we can bring up the Mentimeter at this point. Can we do that, committee? I want to show everyone what the Mentimeter results are. Look at that. This is what we all heard from presentations. It's affordable. It's a solution. It's a future sustainable solution. It's a real solution. It's waste minimization. It avoids pollution. It's easy. It's about washing, right? It's an opportunity. It's a legacy that we leave for our future. So these are all positive, optimistic outlooks for reuse. And we really need to talk about this more and more wherever we go to minimize the stigma and the myth, really myth bust how reuse is, expensive or inconvenient. Numbers. I heard lots of numbers today. I heard people saying there was a 15% increase in store profits. There were 200% increase in consumer savings. There were 700 micro retailers empowered as reuse vendors. There were millions of single-use plastics avoided. These are great numbers. These are numbers that should be known by the world. There were numbers around how, some stores, there was a store that started with 17 products and now has 200 products. I mean, these are great numbers. And do you know how many products companies sell in the world at the moment? Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of different products. So really, we start with 200 products, but our target is hundreds of thousands of products, because why not? I don't see why all of the products in the world couldn't be delivered in a refill or a return system. What I've heard today points to that future being a very possible future. The next is that we've heard how these solutions can survive and thrive in multiple environments. We heard solutions in the urban cities, in the suburbs, in the islands. We've heard it taking place in online shopping experiences, in festivals, in events, and even street hawkers, the original zero carbon powerhouses. So as we start to make reuse infiltrate into all of these different environments, we can start seeing how we can actually replicate, we can actually scale up to reach all of the corners of where consumer goods are traded, really. So I think what we've learned today, and I wanted to highlight maybe 3 key takeaways. Number 1 is that we all have a role in making it easier for these reuse businesses to be replicated and scaled up across wherever we are working and wherever we live, right? Apart from promoting the products and using themselves as consumers, or we all have a role in maybe starting our own business, or maybe publishing guidelines, creating research and studies that share these practices. And for business owners, sharing your practices and what kinds of standards work for you, what kinds of maybe hygiene procedures your containers go through, how to attract customers. I think those kinds of answers were really particularly attractive to the audience today, because that showed up quite a lot in the Q&A. So I think a lot of the people in the audience are interested in maybe starting a reuse store in their own backyard, which is great. The second thing is that I think we agree the key for us to have replication and scale is for these business models to inform policy, because these are the business models that we believe will work. These are the business models that we believe are the true solution for the single-use plastic crisis. So we need to take the lessons from these business models to inform policy. Let's not let policy be informed by other business models, linear business models, or falsely circular business models that we see thriving in the world today. And the third is we do need to ramp up all of our efforts to ban single use. Not because we hate it, although we really do hate it, but because we have a solution to single use, and it is a better solution. And it is a solution that will only thrive when it doesn't really have to compete against artificially cheap single-use plastics. So it's time to scale up these solutions together. I believe this is the first event of several, and we're looking forward to welcoming everybody back to the next event. I think there's going to be a feedback form that the committee will be posting has posted onto the chat room. So do fill in the feedback form. Let us know what you think of what you learned today, but most importantly, let us know what you want to hear in the next event. On behalf of the Asia Reuse Consortium, we thank you, and we'll do our best to deliver, the best substance, the best content from across Asia, the home of solutions, to you. So watch this space, and thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Tisa, for the wrap-up session. And as Tisa finished the wrap-up session, that's all concludes the first Asia Reuse Consortium webinar. Asia is a home of solution. To remind you again, don't forget to fill out the feedback form that we share on the chat box on the Zoom. And if you want to know more about Asia Reuse Consortium, please visit Plastic Diet Indonesia website, plasticdiet.id/reuse. You can see the members of Asia Reuse Consortium. And for those of you who haven't joined us, please contact us if you're interested to be Asia Reuse Consortium. Once again, thank you for your great participant for today. Can't wait to see you in another event with Asia Reuse Consortium. Have a nice day and happy plastic-free July.
Sebenarnya selama ini sudah melebihi imajinasi maupun harapanku dari dulu gitu. Karena aku tahu ini pasti akan terjadi bahwa diet plastik Indonesia terus menjadi pemimpin dalam revolusi plastik di Indonesia dan bahkan mungkin di luar negeri juga.
Mudah-mudahan diet plastik Indonesia betul-betul bisa membayangkan imajinasi Indonesia yang hidup tanpa plastik. Mungkin sekarang kelihatannya berat, tapi aku yakin kalau diet plastik Indonesia konsisten dan tetap pakai semangat gotong royong kayak sekarang, pasti bisa terjadi.
Lagi-lagi kita tidak hanya berbicara tentang kantong plastik, tapi masih banyak jenis-jenis lainnya dan semoga kolaborasi dengan Superindo dan juga partner lainnya kita bisa segera wujudkan ya. Ya, rencananya ingat ya. Oke.
Teman-teman Diet Plastik Indonesia sekarang mendukung pemerintah khususnya KLHK untuk membangun ekosistem reuse, ekosistem guna ulang di Indonesia, karena itu salah satu langkah konkret, langkah nyata untuk mengganti, menghilangkan plastik sekali pakai.
I hope the next 10 years would be as successful as the last 10 years, and may you continue to be a very inspiring and very effective movement to see a plastic-free future.
IDKP, perjalanan 10 tahun advokasi menuju Indonesia, jejaknya selalu ada. Legacy yang ditinggalkan change.org, dampak yang ditinggalkan change.org. Dengan ini semua, kita memang mendapatkan beberapa penghargaan.
Banyak yang protes disuruh bayar 200.
Coba settle down dengan terus.
Koleksi baru, kita bikin pameran.
Dietnya itu loh ya, kenapa harus diet? Saya tersinggung. Ya para pendiri, pengawas, pengurus harian KIDKP, kita akan reveal 3, 2, 1. Ini dia logo baru dari KIDKP. Congratulations.
Aku yakin perjalanannya diet plastik Indonesia masih panjang, karena sebenarnya kampanye itu baru awal perjalanan, dan awal perjalanan yang bentuknya maraton.
Jadi teman-teman bisa bayangkan kita perlu dukungan dari lebih banyak orang lagi atas keberhasilan yang sudah dicapai selama 10 tahun ini.
Semoga umurnya bisa semakin panjang kiprahnya di Indonesia, melebihi 10 tahun dan banyak 10 tahun berikutnya, dan juga banyak impian-impian yang tercapai yang dicapai bersama teman-teman masyarakat sipil lainnya.
Semoga kedepannya Diet Plastik Indonesia semakin terdepan dalam mengurangi plastik sekali pakai di Indonesia.
Bekerja sama mereka tuh selalu menaikkan semangat saya lagi untuk berjuang juga bersama mereka.
Selamat ulang tahun.
Semangat terus ya.
Sukses terus buat Diet Plastik Indonesia.
Again, congratulations.
Selamat ulang tahun Diet Plastik Indonesia.
1, 2, 3. Selamat ulang tahun GIDKP. Yeay.